All right, let's just jump right into this explainer today because we are looking at a financial concept that honestly, it feels like literal magic. We're going to break down exactly how small, consistent monthly savings can completely transform your financial future. You really don't need to be wealthy to start building wealth. You just need to understand the mechanics behind it. So let's get into it.
Here's a quick roadmap of what we'll be covering today. First, we'll break down the eighth wonder. Then, the absolute power of starting early, followed by a look at cash versus market investments. After that, we'll go over strategies to maximize compounding, and finally, the exact steps you can take to build wealth.
So, kicking things off with Section 1, the eighth wonder explained. You might have heard this before, but back in the 1920s, an ad famously called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. And as this quote, usually attributed to Albert Einstein, that hits the nail on the head. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it. Now, whether Einstein actually said that or not honestly doesn't matter because the truth of it is just undeniable. If you get how this works, it's going to work tirelessly for you. If you don't, well, you're probably the one paying it on things like credit card debt.
So what's the actual difference between simple and compound interest? It is massive. Simple interest only pays you on your initial deposit. Like if you put in £1,000 at 10%, you get £100 every single year. Boom, flatline. But compound interest, that's the snowball effect. You aren't just earning on your original money, you're earning interest on your interest.
Literally, compound interest is just the process of earning a return on your original deposit plus all the accumulated interest from the months or years before. And because of this compounding, over time, your money isn't just taking the stairs, it's getting in an elevator. It accelerates upward on this beautiful exponential curve.
Which brings us right into Section 2, the power of starting early.
Okay, let's look at Sarah and Tom. Both of them invest the exact same initial amount, £5,000, at the exact same rate of 6%. But here's the kicker. Sarah starts at age 25, and Tom waits until he's 35. Because Sarah's money has a whole 10 extra years to compound, her final retirement pot is way, way larger. She didn't put in a single penny more than Tom did. She just gave her snowball more time to roll down the hill.
To make this math a bit more real, imagine I offered you a choice right now. You can have £1 million in cold, hard cash today, or a single magic penny that doubles in value every single day for a 30-day month. What are you picking? Most of us would instantly grab the million, right? But let's look at what actually happens to that magic penny.
So the progress is honestly painfully slow at first. Day 1, it's just 1 penny. It literally takes 8 full days just to reach a single pound. By day 10, you're sitting on a grand total of £5 and 12 pence. You're probably regretting not taking the million. But wait, because each jump includes the previous increase, by day 20, you suddenly blast past the £5,000 mark. And then, because that exponential curve goes totally vertical at the end, by day 30, that one little penny has exploded into £5.3 million. It's crazy. That is the absolute power of uninterrupted, compounded growth.
All right, moving right along to Section 3, cash versus market investments.
Now, if you are focusing on those small, consistent monthly savings we talked about, let's say £100 a month, where should you actually put it? Well, there's this staggering 25-year study by Money Farm that looked at exactly this. They compared putting £100 a month into a standard cash ISA versus a stocks and shares ISA. Over 25 years, you'd contribute $31,100 total. In the cash ISA, it grew to just over $39,000. Not terrible. But the stocks and shares ISA, that thing ballooned to over $147,000. So while cash gives you a safety net for the short term, the stock market literally generated a pot nearly 4 times larger over the long haul.
And here is the hidden danger of keeping all your long-term wealth in safe cash. It's inflation. Just to put this in perspective, since 2020, the UK Consumer Price Index rose by about 25%. Over that exact same period, cash savings only returned roughly 12%. So yeah, the number in your cash account went up, but your actual purchasing power was silently getting eaten away. For real wealth building, your money absolutely has to outpace inflation.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 4, strategies to maximize compounding.
I know investing in the market can sound incredibly intimidating, but it really doesn't have to be. Even Warren Buffett, literally one of the greatest investors of all time, advises a super straightforward strategy for most of us. It's called his 90-10 rule. He suggests putting 90% of your funds into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. That gets you reliable,
long-term market compounding across the biggest U.S. companies. Then, that remaining 10% just sits in short-term government bonds. It's low cost, it's diversified, and it is a wildly effective way to just let the market do the heavy lifting for you.
But listen, here is the absolute golden rule, no matter what kind of account you set up. The very second you withdraw your earned interest or dividends, you completely reset your compounding base. You basically hit the undo button and turn compound growth back into simple growth. If you want to see those massive numbers we just looked at, you have to leave the money alone. Just let the yield compound on itself.
Okay, let's wrap this all together in Section 5, Steps to Build Wealth.
All right, here's your actionable playbook. Step 1, start immediately with whatever you have, even if it's a tiny amount. Remember, time is way more important than capital. Step 2, choose a high-frequency compounding account, something like a stocks and shares ISA or your workplace pension. Step 3, automate those regular monthly contributions. Those small, consistent additions, that is the fuel that turbocharges your growth. And finally, Step 4, reinvest all your dividends automatically. When you do this, you're building a self-reinforcing wealth machine. And seriously, the best part? You absolutely do not need a massive salary to pull this off.
The real magic happens when you just let things sit. Imagine starting with a £10,000 investment, leaving it completely untouched, and earning a historical average return of 10%. After 10 years, it's sitting at roughly £25,000. In 20 years, you're looking at over £67,000. But look at year 40. That initial 10 grand has skyrocketed to over £452,000. That is a 45 times return, purely from having patience and letting the exponential curve do its thing.
So gathering all the key takeaways from our sources today, here's what you need to remember. Time is infinitely more valuable than your starting capital. Those consistent monthly additions are what will turbocharge your growth. Over the long run, markets vastly outperform cash and actually beat inflation. And above all else, you have to let compounding work without interrupting it.
Honestly, every single day you wait is a day of compounding growth that is just lost forever. The math tells us that the best time to start was yesterday, but the second best time? That's today. So what small step are you going to take right now to secure your financial future? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope it sparks some ideas for your own wealth-building journey. See you next time.